Hey, welcome back to Yellow Skunk Farms. Quick disclaimer, this is a 21-year-old and up channel, so if you're not 21 years or older, please leave the channel now. Me and Digger would appreciate it. What's up, Digger? Digger had a worm this morning. He's all fat and happy. Pond in here, you know, we lost Shiner yesterday. But he went on to a good home. There's Cooter and Scooter down there. Down at the bottom of the pond there, picking around. And there's Cooter. A couple of people asked what we thought the reason why Shiner died. And Shiner was just old. He was the first fish we put in here. We caught him down at the reservoir, so I really don't know how old he was when we put him in. But you know, he lived his life cycle, and he's gone on into the soil, being recycled. So life goes on. What was I going to say? Oh, light. Yes, we had light stress big time yesterday when we came in here. You remember the day before, yesterday, we added in the far reds. So we added in a little bit too much far red because you can see burnt tips. And I also saw, look at this. Look at this one. This is classic sign of too much light. And what's going on here, in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of people have different opinions, but this is not at all related to nutrient deficiency or anything like that. We didn't see any of this until we flipped that light. So we flipped that light and got that deep far red spectrum into the, look at that. And the plants immediately, I mean, it didn't take 12, 24 hours for me to come back in here and go, holy shit, that's too strong. You can see they're drooping. They just did not like that deep red. So what we did was, we probably just added too much too fast. So we went from 40 in the cool white, 30 in the warm white, 20, 0. Okay, then yesterday we went to, it was 30, 30, 30, 30. So we added 30% of the deep red in, and that was definitely way too much. They did not like it. What we switched to was we went back up to 50 on the cool white, stayed at 30, 30, and 30, where we are now. So I'm at 50, 30, 30, 30, at 35%, which is giving me a ppfd of about 700, 750 around here. And then over there about 950 to 1,000 on the top one. And we're gonna just keep an eye on them and make sure that we don't see any more stress. The plants definitely did not like that deep red all at once. Start to see, you know, just these little things. We want to catch this. You know, if we had left that on, look at that. It's crazy how much the light intensity changes everything. So my big I guess learning experience here with this light is that light is what really runs the show. I mean, it is the energy source for everything in here, and if we can get lights that we can adjust and dial in and remove reds and do all these different things, we can play and basically just teach ourselves what these plants want the best or want the most. And I can tell you already, they love that cool white, that blue spectrum is unbelievable when it comes to just the plant growth. Like, I can shut everything off but that cool blue, and the plants just seem to be as green and healthy and lively as possible. And then when I add that red in, they just stress out. So we don't want to add too much of this stress. We want to stay really low on that red diode, that deep red, because when these lights are unlike any, there's 4 channels on these things. I just want to make sure I get you guys to understand what's going on here. These are 4 channels. That's the cool white, warm white, red, far red. So boom, 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 boom. We can turn any one of these off or on we want. So if I turned off the deep red and the red, I'll just have the cool white and the warm white, which have red in it, but just not a lot, not that deep red. And then I lowered it down to 35%. We're pushing 195 watts. It's insane, but it's given us the PPFD that we need. The DLI is dialed in, and you can just see the stress. It's so unbelievable. You're just pushing too hard. It's basically like I've got the gas pedal pushed down to the floor, and I'm trying to run around some back roads in a Ferrari. You know what I mean? We're pushing too hard. We need to back off of it. The plants will adjust, and we'll see today. We'll definitely be able to tell if these continue to rust like that. And like I said, I know it's the light because none of this happened until literally like hours after I entered that red. So that's just how it is in here right now. So we're learning with these Grandmasters what we can and can't do, what's best, what's not best. So it's my first time with them. So, well, not my first time, but this is my 3rd run with the Grandmasters. Or 4th run, I'm not sure, but it takes some time to learn, especially when you're like me and just like to play. I'm learning that the algae in the creek does not like the red. Like, it doesn't grow very well in that red light. When I turn the blues down and add the red, the algae just almost stops growing completely. It's quite crazy how where that red light hits. I don't get that string algae. I don't have to clean it as much. Like, we don't get as much algae. It's just, you would think it would be the opposite, but since the plants like to stretch, you would think that the algae would like the red light as well, but it just doesn't do it. It doesn't like it at all. Angeline, looking good. So what we'll do, we've still got the red in, we just dialed it down. So what I'm thinking is we had too much intensity. And plants just did not like it at all. Might push some terpenes though. You see how I'm pushing way down here. I don't want to snap it. I also want to do this a little bit every day, just to try and keep Might have to hang a weight on that dang old thing. Yeah, it's gonna be a big one. She's gonna be a mess. The camera just doesn't do it justice. There's no way. It would take 2, maybe even 3 people to get our hands around it. It's completely crossed the creek, touching this thing stretched over here into this one. They grow so fast when you turn those lights. When you add that red, a little bit of that red, once that stretch starts going, the deep red is what I'm noticing they don't really like that much. That warm white, it's kind of that gold color. So that's the cool blue. Cool white, warm white, red. And you can see the little deep red diodes right beside. Everything is on right now. And they don't need much, I'll tell you that. Look at where we topped this thing. You remember topping this a couple days ago? Look how fast it grew. That's not the top, that's the top right there. We topped it. All this has grown since just in like 3 days. So we'll just have to top that again. Just chop and drop everything right on down in there. And it won't last long. Go ahead and get this wet again. This was the Kimmy Pure bag we had in the creek there. So we're just gonna get this wet again. Set it someplace different. These things are getting crazy. Gonna be a big one, that's for sure. Well, it's already big, and wait till these freaking buds start to grow and start to dangle. So the bud actually, the flower hopefully will get big enough to weigh these down and pull them away, and hopefully they'll be strong enough to hold themselves up, but also not strong enough to where they'll lean away from that light as they grow. See all these new fingers we can take. There's that right up next to the light. You can see we were getting a little bit of tip burn there. It only took, like I said, 24 hours to show that that they did not like it. They were too intense. So that's the importance of checking on your grow every day. You gotta come in here every day to make sure everything is dialed in. Things the fans are on. We didn't forget to turn the fan on. We didn't forget the dehue's not clogged up. We don't have dead fish in the pond. See, we got a lot of aeration in the pond today. And I'm not quite sure why. I didn't add anything to the pond or the creek. So I'm not real sure why I see all these air bubbles. It's kind of a mystery. Then again, I'm going to say that it's probably the lab, the lactic acid bacteria, the super lab that we used. We added in some super lab. So this is super lab. We may have put too much, or we may not have needed any at all. It's not like it's a problem, but you can just see that it definitely produces a lot of air. I'm just guessing on that. That's the only thing I've done that's different, or I've added anything other than the light. You know, I don't think the light would do that. But actually, you know, I will say this. For all the problems I've had and all the good things I've had, this right here is what I was after. Like, this is where I wanted to be 2 years ago. Like, I wanted to be able to vision just huge cannabis plants with the creek running through. Basically, the cannabis would be like my redwoods. The mini me walking around in here, hanging out by the creek, looking up underneath the canopy of these giant trees. So my vision has come to life, and it's pretty cool, I must say. It's pretty cool to see it come together so nicely. And we're learning so much, so fast, which is really cool, because I had to learn how to learn all over again, if that makes any sense. You know, my job for 20 years was basically repetition, you know? Doing the same thing over and over and over again. Not really, you know, I'm dyslexic too, so I never was really good at learning or in school. Everything I've taught myself, basically, through trial and error, and also YouTube. But mostly trial and error. I like to dive into things and learn as I go. I like to make mistakes. Mistakes don't bother me at all. I look for mistakes. I'm actually trying to make mistakes sometimes. That sounds crazy, but I want to see what happens. And the only way to do that is to do it. And if we put it on video, we can go back and see what we did and the reaction that the plant had. I'm not scared to show failure, because failure is how we learn. So don't ever be scared to fail. And with that being said, we're going to end this walk around. I appreciate everybody hanging out. Oh, this thing just will not stay upright. But it's growing like crazy. Pretty soon it'll get big enough to where I can just lay it over there and it won't keep falling down. Anyway, I appreciate everybody hanging out. And we will see you tomorrow. Peace.